Haha! New season, baby Pokemon. Awesome. So we're gonna review my draft again. Take a look at the Pokemon I chose. We'll talk about why I chose them. Talk about what I think is good about my team. Maybe we'll talk about some weaknesses, but mostly I think my opponents need to find those. So we'll only talk about the obvious ones. But yeah. So the new season of VBL-N, which is the National Dex version of under the VBL umbrella, was a Little Cup format. We're playing at level 5, regular VGC rules of species, claws, and only one item, only one of each item, and bring 6, pick 4, and stuff like that. Best of 3. But we're playing at level 5, and it's only Little Cup Pokemon. So, first stage of a Pokemon line that can evolve. We did have some bans. Sneasel and Scissor, we didn't even bother polling. We were just like, those Pokemon are broken. They're too good. Ban them. And then Gligar and Tangela were also banned. And then, like, Cubfu, Type Null, Poipole, because you can't get those at level 5. And there might have been one other. I don't remember. Not important. But anyway, I had the 3rd overall pick in the draft. After Terminal and Poppin. So I knew I was going to be able to get a pretty decent first pick, but then I was going to have to really sit on my hands and hope something I could get something nice. And I was almost wheel, but not quite. So it was a lot of, pick quickly and then hurry up and wait kind of stuff. So for my first pick, there was a couple that I was thinking about. Minfu, because it's a great Little Cup Pokemon. It's got Fake Out, Fighting type is good. It's got good coverage. It's fast. But Poppin picked that. And also it wasn't really my number one thing I definitely wanted the most. There was also Ponyta, which I was thinking about for a while, mostly just on raw stats. It's got a BST over 400, which is just higher than most of the other Pokemon. And then the one I ended up actually settling on, which was Grookie. Grassy Surge is great. It's the only auto terrain in the format. It's got Fake Out. It's decently fast. I think it hits 16 speed with a 65 base stat. The important numbers really being 21, which is faster than the entire unboosted format. So you need Scarf or something for that, but 20. So 20 is the highest anything can be max speed, right? And there's only a couple of those, and one of them is Voltorb, which is not that great. And then lots of 19s, 18s, and 17s are pretty common too. But 21 can get you faster than the whole unboosted, and then so which means 14 is another good cutoff, because that can get you to 21 with a Scarf, and then 11, because then that can get you above 20 with Tailwind, which is a lot more prevalent because we are using National Dex movesets, so and also cut moves with the exception of Hidden Power, which we voted to ban, or it was voted to ban. I did not vote to ban it. But so Return is back and Tail Glow and stuff like that. But So I went with Grookie first. Grookie's great. I'm very happy with Grookie. Love that cute green monkey. I had to wait a long time for my second pick, but eventually it did get back to me. So I went with Woobat as a nice pair with Grookie. Woobat has the ability Simple, which means a Grassy Seed is going to give it +2 defense, which is pretty nice. And then it learns like Calm Mind and Stored Power. Yeah, Stored Power is the one that the Psychic type move that's 20 base power plus 20 per stat increase. So come in on grassy terrain, get a +2 defense. That's already a 60 base power Psychic move. But then after a Calm Mind, it's what, 120 or 100 or 120. 420, 80, 140. It's a very strong move, is the point. So Woobat also gets Trick Room. It's decently fast. I think it hits 17 or 18 speed, which is pretty nice. Can set Tailwind to sort of drag my slower Pokemon up into the higher speed tiers. Gets both screens. Gets Helping Hand, which is nice. Psychic and Flying are good types. But this very scary Woobat does put me pretty weak to dark types. So my third pick was going to be Magnemite, but Poppin took it right before me. So I was looking at some other steel types. I thought I can probably wait on some other steel types. That's fine. Let's go with a strong fighting type to mitigate this, the fact that people are going to want to bring dark types against me, right? Woobat is very scary. Dark type attacks are going to do well into it. So let's get a fighting type to try and mitigate that. There were a couple I was looking at, Timber or maybe Makuhita. It's got, because it gets Fake Out. But Jordan pointed out to me that Machop is great, and he's right. 80 base attack, guts, close combats is going to kill pretty much anything that's not either sturdy, focus sashed, or resisting it. Also get No Guard. Machop doesn't get a ton of great no guard use. I mean, it gets Dynamic Punch, which is very scary, but Guts close combat I think is stronger. Well, yeah, of course it's stronger, but it gets some priority in Bullet Punch, which is nice. It gets all the punches, so pretty good coverage. And it can hit at max speed. It can hit 14. Which is nice, because that means I can run it with a Scarf, hit 21, outspeed some stuff. So Machop is pretty scary, and I was pretty happy with that as a third pick. I then had to wait a long time again. Excuse me, and we move on to my fourth pick of Magby. For a little bit, I was looking at fast Icy Wind users, mostly so in the 19 speed Icy Wind users. So I was looking at Poliwag, I was looking at Buizel, but Magby is 19 speed with Scary Face, which is also awesome. Very reliable speed control on a fast Pokemon is nice. It also gets some good priority. It gets Mach Punch as well. It gets at least a couple of the elemental punches, and is just like pretty strong, right? It's got solid attacking stats. It can be physical or special. Excuse me. And maybe I put a Grassy Seed on it and shore up its not so great physical defense. But Magby is pretty sweet. That also allowed me to look at a more bulky water type. So I ended up going next with... oh no, that comes later. Next I went with Mime Jr. Technician Fake Out is sweet. Icy Wind. I did end up picking up. Mime Jr. hits 17 speed, maybe 16. I don't remember. Pretty decently fast. I think it was kind of slept on a little bit. Maybe we mistiered it a bit. 3 is pretty low. It is a second Psychic type, but it's a Psychic type that doesn't that Dark doesn't hit super effectively, which is nice. My type resistances aren't looking too terrible right now. I got a couple of unresisted hits, taking neutral returns, which is not great, but we're doing all right so far. Mime Jr.'s got a pretty great support move pool as well. It's a second Trick Room setter, which is nice. Gets screens, taunt, all the nice support moves that all your Psychic type Pokemon are getting. Moving on to my next pick is when I grab my bulky water type I was talking about, which is Clauncher. Clauncher and Lickitung are the 2 Terrain Pulse users in the format, and I think Clauncher is just better. Although Lickitung's not terrible. Like, it's better than I thought initially when I was looking at it, or before I was looking at it. But water type is nice. Pretty decent defenses, both above 60, which is pretty nice. Could run physical or special, but with Mega Launcher, I'm pretty much always going to want to run it special. It gets most of the moves that are boosted by Mega Launcher. It doesn't get Dragon Pulse, I think, and then no Heal Pulse, and I think there's one other thing. But it gets Dark Pulse, it gets Water Pulse, Aura Sphere, and Terrain Pulse, which is nice. So that's going to give me a Grass type attack on Clauncher, which will be nice. 100 base power plus the Mega Launcher boost is pretty nice. It's basically stab. I think Clauncher is going to be able to punch through some Pokemon in a format where a lot of the Pokemon are relatively frail and a lot of things are getting 2-hit. A Fake Out plus a Mega Launcher boosted Clauncher attack is going to give me some nice KOs, I think. Moving on to my next pick here, went with Blitzel. Blitzel has some nice defensive abilities that I was really looking for. I wanted something with Lightning Rod, so I was also looking at like Electrike at 3 points. But Blitzel is faster. It hits 18 speed, which is nice. Has Sap Sipper, which is going to allow me to maybe switch in on some Pokemon that are trying to take advantage of my grassy terrain, and get a boost that way. It gets Flame Charge to boost its own speed, and it can more or less run physical or special. Its electric type moves are better special, but its physical attack stat is a little better. But when all the numbers are smaller, the difference between these is not quite as bad. It is pretty frail defensively, which is kind of a bummer. 32 is pretty low, but like I said, it's got pretty good defensive abilities, which are going to help it out. And ideally, it'll be fast enough to not really matter. So at this point, several Steel-type Pokemon that I wanted had been taken. I put it off basically as long as I could. I had been looking at Aaron, which is pretty nice. Rock's Head Smash, Rock whatever, the no recoil ability is pretty nice. It can hit 22 speed with a Rock Polish, which is pretty nice. It gets some pretty decent stuff. But Qfant was still available, and it's slow enough that maybe I run it under Trick Room. I think I hit 7 speed minimum, or maybe 8, which is pretty low in terms of Trick Room. But I can also run it with a Scarf and outspeed all the unboosted stuff. I can hit 21 with Qfant. Sheer Force is pretty sweet. It's got some okay coverage moves, but mostly it's just got your the physical attacking moves that you normally get, your ground types, rock types, steel types, stuff like that. All the stuff that you would want in a big dumb physical Dynamax Pokemon. There's no Dynamax in this format, but those moves, steel, rock, ground, stuff like that. So I was looking at my types, and my ground weakness is looking not great. It's a little better than it looks, and it kind of gets a little worse here later on with my next pick, but the Grassy Surge is going to mitigate earthquakes, which is nice. This isn't BDSP, so there is a lot more high horsepowers and Stomping Tantrums that are going to be around, but at least the earthquakes won't be too bad. But I knew I wanted a wide guard user, which I didn't have last season and missed. And there's, the move pools are just much better, so having just more options is nice. So I ended up going with Onyx as a wide guard user. Rockhead is the name of the ability I couldn't think of on Aaron earlier, because Onyx also has it. So Onyx gets wide guard. It's also got just gargantuan physical defense stat, which is pretty awesome. I can run Head Smash, Rockhead Head Smash, like I was talking about with Aaron. It also gets Rock Blast, which is nice. Multi-hit moves are pretty sweet in Little Cup, with all the berry juice flying around. And Stab on your Rock Blast is pretty nice. So, and then that also gives me a ground type, which is something I didn't have yet, and which I definitely really wanted. The defensive stats, or the defensive typing, is not that great. Particularly, we're not looking great, like I said, in ground types defensively here. But, no team's going to be perfect, and there's a lot more single-type Pokemon in Little Cup, I was noticing. And it's just harder to get the defensive type coverage when a lot more Pokemon only have one type. So, overall, I think I ended up doing pretty decent. There's a couple things that I might look into changing in some free agency if things don't go so great for the first couple of weeks, but we'll see how it goes. So right after I picked Onyx, everybody started talking about how there's not that many great redirectors, and most of them had been taken, and my plan for my next pick was Venonat. It was then everybody started saying, "Man, there's so few redirectors. Wish I had picked one up. Oh yeah, I got mine early. Da 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 da, stuff like that." So I was like, "Oh no, there's no way Venonat's getting back to me because it gets rage powder." But I got lucky, or nobody else noticed that Venonat gets rage powder, or I'm misjudging how good Venonat is. But I think Venonat's pretty good. I did get Venonat. It's got 2 good abilities, Compound Eyes and Tinted Lens. Compound Eyes is going to let me throw out super accurate sleep powders, which is nice. Rage Powder's pretty great. It does get Leech Life and has a decent attack stat, 55. Its strongest poison type attack is poison, not poison jab. That's base 80. The base 51. Poison sting, poison fang, something like that. I don't know. So its poison move pool is not that great, but it's got a pretty decent support move pool. Like I said, rage powder, very accurate sleep powders. Anything that doesn't double resist bug is going to be taking pretty decent chunks off of Leech Life if I run it with Tinted Lens, which is nice. And so I think Venonat is going to do pretty nice for me. And then my planned last pick was Galarian Zigzagoon. It gives me a normal type, gives me a dark type, 2 things I don't have on the team right now. But that got taken, so I was like, oh no, what am I going to get? I didn't really see any other normal or dark types that I was that interested in. Maybe I'll pick something up in free agency. I did only have 2 points left at this point, which pretty severely hampered my options. Earlier on, I'd been looking at maybe Litleo as a normal type. Is decently fast, and it would allow me to run round on Magby to go first, and then make the Litleo go next, and then you've got a very strong stab special move, which is nice. Litleo has some other stuff going for it, but I didn't have enough points left at this point. So I was looking through what do I do with my last 2 points? What do I want? I ended up going with Chespin, which we'll see if I use much or not. Grookie is mostly just better Chespin. Chespin does get Belly Drum, though, which is pretty sweet. And having picked up the Venonat previously, that gives me a nice little setup there. Maybe we run Chespin 1 week. We'll see. Also, maybe I drop Chespin and grab something else. So things that I like about this team. I've got a lot of good speed control, right? I have 2 fake out users. I've got Tailwind. I've got Icy Wind. I can set Trick Room if I need to. My team isn't super positioned to take advantage of Trick Room a ton. My slowest Mon being Machop, Chespin, and Qfent, all at 14. 14 max speed of 14. Mostly they're probably going to be in the 9 to 11 range unless I want to outspeed something with them specifically. But I got a lot of good offensive coverage options in Clauncher, Machop, Blitzel. All have pretty decent offensive coverage options. Magby I think is pretty sweet, and being very fast is nice. I wish I maybe had a little more priority. That was one of the things that I was really looking out for initially, and didn't get as much as I would have liked. I do have a quick attack on Blitzel. I think maybe one of these guys gets faint or something like that. No Accelerock. That's just that's not in the format. No Ice Shard, I don't think. I don't know, maybe Clauncher gets Ice Shard. I'm not sure. But yeah, I would have liked to have a little bit more priority, especially with all the speed stats being so jammed together. The slowest possible mon being Munchlax at 5 if it's min speed, and the fastest unboosted being 20. Like, that's not a huge range. A lot of mons are going to be able to get outside of that range one way or the other, either with Scarfs and Tailwind or speed debuffs like Icy Wind and Electro Web, or Trick Room and stuff like Iron Ball, things like that. But I think my speed overall is pretty good, and my speed control options are pretty nice too. Double Fake Out, I loved having last season, and I suspect I will like it even more on these mons here, because they're doing very different things. I'm much more likely to be able to bring both of them a lot more often, and so just having those switch in options and the pressure from multiple fake out Pokemon, I think, is going to be really nice. It's also going to help me deal with things like Sturdy, which is a lot more common in Little Cup, particularly with Berry Juice being all over the place. I didn't get a Frisk Pokemon, which is something I would have liked to have had and didn't pick up. But we'll see how these first couple weeks go, and then maybe we make some changes. Maybe we don't. If things are going great, maybe we keep things the way they are. But that's the team: Grookie, Woobat, Machop, Magby, Mime Jr., Clauncher, Blitzel, Qfant, Onyx, Venonat, and Chespin. Other than that, I've got one. My first match is the end of this week versus Poppin, who has a pretty scary team. Sniped me more than once during the draft, which is kind of a bummer. But I don't know. Maybe he trades me Magnemite after we face off this week. Probably not, though. Magnemite's very good, and I think it's pretty good on his team. So, yeah, that's the team. Hopefully we have a nice season. Good luck, but I hope I win.